No! Stay away from me! The scream tore through the pulsing music like a knife through silk. Bodies froze on the dance floor. Glasses paused midway to lips. Even the DJ's hands stuttered on the turntable. But Dante Moretti didn't move. Couldn't move. Because the woman screaming, the woman backing away from him with terror carved into every line of her face, was his wife. His dead wife. 8 months dead. Hello, family. Welcome back to another story. Before we dive deeper into this impossible night, I have something to ask from the heart. Please subscribe to this channel. Your support breathes life into these stories, and every subscription helps us continue sharing tales that matter, stories that give hope to those who need it most. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Now let's step back into the club where Dante's world just shattered. The club had been pulsing with life just seconds ago. Bass shaking the walls, lights cutting through expensive perfume and imported whiskey, beautiful people dancing like tomorrow didn't exist. Dante had come here to settle a betrayal. Someone on his board had been skimming millions, and he'd tracked the thief to this very club. He moved through the crowd like smoke, tall, cold-eyed, dressed in black that cost more than most people's cars. But then he saw her. Isabella. His Isabella. Dancing under neon lights that painted her skin blue, then pink, then gold. Her body moved with that same grace he'd memorized over 7 years of marriage. But something was different. She was pregnant. Very pregnant. The world tilted. Sound drained away. His chest cracked open like someone had taken a sledgehammer to his ribs. Bella? His voice came out broken, barely a whisper. She turned. Their eyes met. And the recognition in her gaze wasn't love or relief or joy. It was pure animal terror. No! Stay away from me! She stumbled backward, one hand flying to her swollen belly, the other thrust out like she could ward him off with just her palm. The crowd began to murmur. Phones appeared, cameras pointing. Isn't that Dante Moretti's wife? I thought she died in that car accident. Is he seeing ghosts? Dante started forward, each step feeling like walking through water. Bella, please. It's me. Don't touch me. She was crying now, mascara streaking down her cheeks. You tried to kill me. You tried to kill your own wife. The words hit him like bullets. Before he could process them, before he could defend himself, her face contorted with pain. Oh God! She looked down. Water gushed across the dance floor, soaking her shoes, spreading in a dark pool under the strobing lights. Her water had broken. No, no, no. Isabella's knees buckled. Dante caught her before she hit the ground. She fought him, fists pounding against his chest, nails clawing at his arms, but he held tight. I'm not letting you die again, he said through gritted teeth, carrying her toward the exit. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Someone called an ambulance. Someone else was definitely filming. Dante didn't care. His wife, his supposedly dead wife, was in labor in his arms, screaming that he was a murderer and nothing else in the world mattered. 6 hours later, under the harsh white lights of a private hospital room, Isabella gave birth to a baby girl. Dante stood in the corner, watching through the window. The doctors wouldn't let him in. Isabella had screamed so violently when she saw him that they'd sedated her slightly, fearing she'd hurt herself. But when the nurse held up the baby, when those tiny eyes opened for the first time, Dante saw it. Storm gray eyes. His chest compressed. His throat closed. His hands trembled against the glass. Lucia, he whispered, naming her without permission, without rights. My Lucia. Inside the room, Isabella held their daughter with tears streaming down her face. And when she looked up and met Dante's gaze through the window, her expression held only one thing. Hate. Pure, cold, unwavering hate. For the first time in his life, the most feared man in the city had no idea what crime he'd committed. The hospital wouldn't release her. Isabella sat in the private room, all cream walls and soft lighting, and the kind of sterile luxury that money could buy, holding baby Lucia against her chest. Her daughter, her miracle, the only pure thing left in a world that had tried to murder her. Mrs. Moretti, the doctor said gently, clipboard in hand, your vitals are stable, but the psychological evaluation suggests severe trauma response. We can't discharge you without my husband's permission? Isabella's laugh was sharp, bitter. You mean my killer's permission? The doctor shifted uncomfortably. He is your legal next of kin, and given your condition, we have protocols. Protocols. Legal rights. Next of kin. All the words that meant she was trapped. Through the window, she could see him. Dante stood in the hallway, speaking quietly with someone in a dark suit, probably one of his men. Even from here, even through glass and distance, his presence pressed against her like a physical weight. He'd aged since the accident. New lines around his eyes, gray threading through his dark hair. He looked tired. Good, she thought viciously. Let him be tired. Let him suffer like I suffered. But then Lucia made a small sound against her breast, and Isabella's rage cracked just slightly. Because this baby, this impossible, beautiful baby, had his eyes. The memory came flooding back, sharp and jagged. 8 months ago. The hospital bed. The pain still screaming through her body from the accident. The truck that had T-boned her car, sending her spinning into oncoming traffic. 3 broken ribs. Collapsed lung. Internal bleeding. She'd been lucky to survive. Or so she'd thought. That's when Valentina Russo had walked in. Elegant Valentina, with her designer clothes and perfect smile. Board member. Family friend. The woman who'd been at their wedding, who'd celebrated holidays at their table. Isabella, darling, Valentina had said, pulling a chair close to the hospital bed. I wish I didn't have to tell you this. I really do. She'd laid out photos like tarot cards of doom. Dante with another woman. Embracing her. Kissing her. Laughing in ways he never laughed with Isabella anymore. He's been planning this for months, Valentina had whispered, her voice dripping with false sympathy. You were in the way of his next business deal. A marriage to the Castellano family would secure his empire. Then came the audio recordings. Dante's voice cold and clinical. The wife is a liability. Handle it. And finally, the documents. Contracts linking Dante to the trucking company that had crashed into her car. Payment receipts. Signatures that looked exactly like his. He wanted you gone, Valentina had said, squeezing Isabella's hand. And he almost succeeded. If you stay, he'll try again. You need to disappear. So Isabella had. She'd faked her death with Valentina's help. Staged a body. Let Dante bury an empty coffin. Spent 8 months in hiding, alone and pregnant, watching her belly grow with the child of a man she thought had tried to murder her. The door opened. Isabella's head snapped up, arms tightening around Lucia. Dante stepped inside. He moved slowly, hands visible, like approaching a wild animal. The doctors say you can leave today. Good. I want to leave. Without you. That's not happening. His voice was quiet but absolute. You're coming home with me. Home? Isabella's voice rose. You mean your prison? Your cage where you can finish what you started. Something flashed in his eyes, pain maybe, or anger. I don't know what you think I did, Bella. But I would never. Don't call me that. She was standing now, baby clutched to her chest. Don't you dare use the name you whispered when we were happy. When I trusted you. When I loved you. The words hung between them like broken glass. Dante's jaw tightened. You're still my wife. That's still my daughter. And you're both coming home whether you like it or not. He turned and walked out. 2 hours later, she found herself in his arms, carried like a bride through the hospital doors, cameras flashing, while she beat uselessly against his chest. The gates of his estate closed behind them with a sound like a tomb sealing shut. If you're enjoying this story and want to see how Isabella uncovers the truth, please subscribe to our channel. Every subscription helps us continue bringing you stories that matter. Stories that shine light on deception, courage, and the fight for truth. Drop a comment telling us what you think will happen next. Isabella refused to eat. For 2 days straight, she sat in the bedroom Dante had given her. The same bedroom they'd once shared, now feeling like a gilded cage. Baby Lucia slept in a bassinet beside the bed, peaceful and unaware that her parents were enemies. Isabella stared at the food trays that came and went untouched. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Each one prepared with care, each one ignored. She told herself it was defiance, but her body was starting to betray her. Her hands shook, her head pounded, and worst of all, her milk was drying up. Lucia had started crying more, hungry and confused. On the 3rd morning, the smell hit her. It drifted under the door, crept through the air vents, wrapped around her like a memory she'd tried to forget. Garlic, rosemary, that specific blend of herbs that only one chef knew how to get just right. Her favorite meal from their early days together. The dish Dante had cooked for her himself the night he'd proposed. Flour on his hands and nervousness in his eyes. Isabella's stomach growled so loudly that Lucia startled in her sleep. No, she whispered to herself. He's manipulating you. It's a trick. Another lie. But the smell wouldn't stop. It filled every corner of the room, thick and warm and impossible to ignore. Finally, furious and starving, she stormed out of the bedroom, down the marble staircase, through hallways she'd once walked with joy. The dining room stretched before her, long table, crystal chandelier, and Dante sitting at the head like a king in his castle. The food sat between them, steam rising. "Taste it first," Isabella snapped, one hand on her hip, the other clutching the doorframe for support. "What if it's poisoned? What if this is how you finish it?" Dante looked at her for a long moment. Then, without a word, he picked up a fork and took a slow, deliberate bite. Chewed. Swallowed. Satisfied? His voice was quiet, controlled. Almost. She sat down, far from him, at the opposite end of the table, and ate like someone drowning finally reaching air. The food was perfect, exactly as she remembered, and that made her even angrier. "You'll never win me back," she said between bites, not looking at him. "I'm not trying to win you back." Dante's gray eyes were steady, unreadable. "I'm trying to keep you alive." "Why?" The word exploded out of her. "So you can kill me yourself when the time is right?" "So you can." Her phone buzzed. Isabella pulled it from her pocket, and ice flooded her veins. A message from Valentina. "He's feeding you, making you comfortable. But don't forget what he did. Don't forget the recordings. The contracts. Run from him before it's too late. He will finish what he started." Her hand trembled. The fork clattered against the plate. "What is it?" Dante was standing now, moving toward her. "Stay away from me." But he'd already seen the phone screen. His face went white, then red. "Valentina sent that? Don't act surprised. You probably planned this together." The sound of shattering glass cut through her words. Then shouting from upstairs. Then a scream, the nanny they'd hired to help with Lucia. Dante's entire body changed. The businessman disappeared. Something else took his place, something cold and deadly. "Stay here," he commanded, already moving. But Isabella was already running, taking stairs 2 at a time, her body screaming in protest. She burst into the nursery, just as a masked figure reached for Lucia's bassinet. "No!" The intruder spun, raised a gun, and Dante appeared like lightning, throwing himself between the weapon and Isabella, tackling the intruder to the ground. The gun went off. Once. Twice. Dante grunted, staggered, but didn't fall. Blood bloomed across his white shirt, spreading like spilled wine. He'd taken the bullet. For her. "Why?" Isabella's voice broke. "Why would you do that for me?" Dante looked at her, blood on his lips, pain in his eyes. "Because I love you," he whispered. "I never stopped loving you." Then his knees buckled, and he collapsed. The masked intruder fled through the window. And Isabella's world, built so carefully on hate and certainty, began to crumble. What happens when everything you believe turns out to be a lie? Subscribe to find out how this story unfolds. Your support keeps these stories alive and helps us bring hope to those who need it most. Comment below. Do you think Dante is telling the truth? The mansion had never felt so silent. Isabella sat beside Dante's bed in the private medical wing he'd had built into the estate, because men like him couldn't risk regular hospitals when enemies lurked everywhere. His chest rose and fell beneath white bandages. One bullet had grazed his ribs. The other had lodged near his shoulder. The doctors said he'd been lucky. 2 inches lower, and it would have pierced his heart. He'd been unconscious for 18 hours. Isabella hadn't left his side. She told herself it was because she needed answers. Because nothing made sense anymore. Because a man who wanted her dead wouldn't take bullets meant for her. But deep down, watching him breathe, seeing the pain etched into his sleeping face, she felt something shift inside her chest. Something that felt dangerously like doubt. The door opened softly. Marcus, Dante's head of security, entered carrying a manila envelope. "Mrs. Moretti," he said quietly. "We caught the intruder. He's talking. And he was hired through an encrypted account. But we traced the payment." Marcus hesitated. It came from Valentina Russo's personal holdings. The words landed like stones in still water. "No." Isabella shook her head. "No, Valentina helped me. She saved me. She showed me the evidence." "What evidence?" Marcus pulled documents from the envelope. "These?" He spread them across the bed. Photos of Dante with another woman. Except now Isabella could see they were edited, the lighting wrong, the shadows inconsistent. Audio files with timestamps that showed they'd been spliced together. Contracts with signatures that, under proper analysis, were forgeries. "She fabricated everything," Marcus said. "We found her real plan in the intruder's phone. She's been systematically destroying Mr. Moretti's life. First his wife, then his reputation, And finally, his empire. Isabella's hands trembled as she picked up each piece of evidence. 8 months of hate. 8 months of fear. 8 months of believing the man she loved had tried to murder her. All built on lies. But why? Her voice cracked. Why would she do this? Because she wanted him. The voice came from the bed. Dante's eyes were open, clouded with pain but sharp with awareness. Valentina has been obsessed with me since before we married, he continued, each word clearly costing him. I rejected her years ago. She never forgave it. And when you came into my life, when I chose you. He paused, breathing hard. She decided if she couldn't have me, no one would. Isabella felt tears streaming down her face. The accident, the truck that hit me, was her doing. We have the real contracts now. She paid the driver. Made it look like I ordered it. Dante tried to sit up, winced, fell back. When you survived, she convinced you I was the enemy. Made you disappear. Made me mourn an empty coffin. The image flashed through Isabella's mind, Dante at her funeral, standing in the rain, looking like death itself. She'd watched from a distance, Valentina's words echoing in her head. Look how well he plays the grieving husband. But what if it hadn't been an act? What if she destroyed him just as thoroughly as Valentina had planned? I'm sorry. The words tore out of her. Dante, I'm so sorry. I believed her. I ran from you. I made you bury me. I let you think I was dead while I was carrying your child. Stop. His hand reached for hers, weak but steady. You were protecting yourself. Protecting Lucia. You thought I was trying to kill you. What else could you have done? Trusted you, she whispered. I should have trusted you. And I should have protected you better. His gray eyes held hers. I should have seen what Valentina was planning. Should have kept you safe. They sat in silence, hands intertwined, years of love and months of pain hanging between them. Where is she now? Isabella finally asked. Marcus's expression darkened. She fled to her penthouse after the failed attack. But Mrs. Moretti, he hesitated. We intercepted a communication. She's not done. She's planning something bigger. From Dante's bedside table, his phone buzzed. The message was short, cold, and unmistakably from Valentina. You survived again. How inconvenient. But don't worry, darling. Part 2 begins now. 3 days after the attack, Valentina Russo sat in her penthouse, surrounded by shattered glass and overturned furniture. The news had spread like wildfire. Isabella alive. The baby born. Dante recovering. Her carefully constructed lies crumbling like sand castles in the tide. He saved her again, she hissed, hurling a crystal vase against the wall. He always saves her. Years of planning. Years of waiting. Years of watching Dante look at Isabella the way he'd never looked at her. And still they survived. Her phone rang. The encrypted line. The team is ready, the voice said. Just give the word. Valentina's lips curved into something that might have been a smile if it held any warmth. Tonight, she whispered. Tonight we finish this. Back at the estate, Isabella stood in the nursery, watching Lucia sleep. The baby was perfect. Dark hair like her mother. Gray eyes like her father. Completely unaware that her world balanced on a knife's edge. We need to talk. Dante's voice came from the doorway. He moved slowly, still healing, but stronger than he'd been days ago. The bandages were smaller now. The pain in his eyes had shifted from physical to something deeper. They walked to the balcony. The same balcony where they'd once planned their future, where he'd held her and promised forever. I want you to take Lucia and leave, Dante said quietly. Go somewhere safe. Somewhere Valentina can't find you. No. Isabella's voice was steel. Bella, she's not going to stop. Neither am I. She turned to face him fully. I ran once. I let fear and lies separate us. I let her win. Her hands trembled, but her voice stayed steady. I'm not running anymore. Dante's expression cracked. You could die. So could you. She stepped closer. We faced this together, like we should have from the beginning. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other. 7 years of marriage. 8 months of death. 3 days of truth. I don't deserve you, Dante whispered. Good thing love isn't about deserving. She kissed him then, soft and broken and full of everything they'd lost and found again. The moment shattered with the sound of an explosion. The estate's front gate erupted in flames, twisted metal flying through the air like confetti of destruction. Black SUVs poured through the opening. 6, 7, 8 vehicles. Get Lucia. Dante was already moving, pulling Isabella inside. Marcus. Lock down the house. Alarms screamed. Guards rushed to positions. The mansion transformed from home to fortress in seconds. But Isabella saw the truth in Dante's eyes. They were outnumbered. She ran to the nursery, scooped up Lucia, held her daughter against her racing heart. Through the windows, she watched men in tactical gear spreading across the grounds. Professional. Organized. This wasn't a simple attack. This was a war. Gunfire erupted. Glass shattered. Someone screamed. Dante appeared at her side, gun in hand, blood seeping through his bandages from the sudden movement. "The safe room," he commanded. "Now." They moved through the mansion, Isabella clutching Lucia, Dante covering them both. The sounds of battle echoed through halls that had once held only laughter and love. They reached the safe room. Steel reinforced. Air filtration. Enough supplies for weeks. "Get inside," Dante said. "Not without you." "Bella." "No." Tears streamed down her face. "I just got you back. I'm not losing you again." His hands cupped her face. "You won't. I promise. But I need to end this. I need to stop her." He kissed her, deep and desperate and tasting like goodbye. Then he pushed her gently into the safe room. "I love you," he said. "Both of you. Always." The door sealed shut. Through the security monitors, Isabella watched Dante walk back into the chaos. Watched him fight. Watched him defend their home. And then the screens went black. All of them. Complete darkness. Lucia began to cry. Isabella's phone buzzed. One final message from an unknown number. "Did you really think walls could keep you safe from me? The real game begins now. And this time, someone you love will die. The question is, who will you sacrifice to save the others?" Above ground, in the burning mansion, a figure in white moved through the smoke. Valentina had come to finish it herself.